here's what we got to do.
All right, Tim.
To make sure this deck is level, like this way. You remember this one?
Yes.
That's the one we turn. So what I want to do, and this ground's not level, grant you,
okay,
but as close as I can get, I'm going to measure from the ground to the deck. It's about 8 inches.
Okay.
I'm going to measure this side. And again, this ground is not level, best we can do. It's about 8.5 inches, so we need to go up on this side. And when you watch, I got to take the pressure off. Let me set it down a little bit. Okay. You turn this. I got to get more pressure off of it. Oh, you son of a bitch. You turn this, and what it's going to do is go out or in.
Okay.
If it goes in, it's going to pick this side up, is what I'm trying to do. I'm pick it up and get another 1/2 inch that way. So I just keep turning it till it gets tight. And I'll pick it up again.
What are you hitting to pick it up?
Right here, this lever
Okay.
right here. That's your up and down. Now you also got locks on this. You see this thing right here? When you get this deck where you want it to be, you take this thing right here and you slide it up and it'll lock. That way it can't go any, when you lift it up, when you put it back down, it's going to go in the same place.
Okay.
So what you want is, you don't want this thing dragging on the ground like this.
Right.
What you need is, you need it up. So that's about level right there.
Okay.
So you're actually running off that rear wheel, and this is not dragging the ground.
Okay.
Now, the lower you put it, naturally, the closer to the ground it cuts, but it's a bush hog. You're not going to get a cut like you do with a lawnmower. Mm-hmm. You're going to get a 2 or 3 inch, cut.
Yeah.
So what you want, and you also want this thing, you see how this is a PTO shaft.
Which one? This?
This.
That? Okay.
That's a PTO shaft. It runs the gearbox here that turns the blades.
Okay.
This probably has one blade. If I'm not mistaken, it's a 7-foot bush hog, or 6 foot. Yeah, it's a 6-foot bush hog. So there's probably one blade under there. At any rate, you want this PTO shaft level like it is right there. You don't want it in a bind. Now, you can set it all the way in the ground and run it. It's not going to hurt it, but it's better if it's level like this thing is level.
Right.
So this running off this gearbox. The PTO, to put it in, when I get ready to put it in, I'm going to push the clutch in, and the PTO's right here, this yellow knob. Come here and look at it. It's out of gear right now. That's out of gear in the back. When I get ready to turn it on, I'll push the clutch in and move it up here, and that will activate the PTO.
Which is what makes
the blade turn, right. Now, you always got to make sure you push the clutch in before you engage this.
And the clutch is on the left side.
That left side, right. These are the brakes.
The brakes up here, and that one's the gas down there.
That's it. No, that's not the gas. That's the gas is right here.
Oh, yeah.
This is the static drive.
Okay, yeah.
Now, when you run this tractor, you got to run it up at least above 2,000 RPMs.
Oh, what's that then?
Right here. See that?
Uh-huh.
That's above 2,000 RPMs, and you'll see a little thing right there, PTO 540. That means you got to run it to that level to operate that PTO.
Okay.
The reason being is static drive, which means it uses hydraulic pumps to run the mechanism on here to drive it, and also run the PTO. If you run it too low, it's hard on the pump and it won't work right.
Okay.
These are designed to be run almost wide open.
Right.
And it shows you right there, PTO 540. Mm-hmm. That's where you got to run it above that or above it to run anything on the PTO.
So whenever you go to bush hog, you're going to have it at least to that square.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, here's the great thing about this tractor. If you ever get in trouble, just take your foot off of this and put it on the brake. That's it.
Okay.
If you ever get in a bind, like this is going to be tight. When I start bush hogging this, I got a fence to worry about. So when I turn out with that bush hog behind me, is going to want to turn out behind me.
Yes.
So when I get to that corner down there to turn, if I don't watch what I'm doing, I'll run this bush hog right in the fence.
Right.
But if you ever get in a bind, just stop. You know where you just came from, back up, and slowly, gradually, when you back up, turn the bush hogger out of out of the danger area and then go again.
Right.
So all I'm saying is the first lesson I learned on the tractor is you get in a bind, stop it and push your brake.
Okay.
This thing's gonna be running wide open. It's gonna sound like you're hauling ass. It's got 3 gear levers over it, or 3 low, medium, and high. On a bush hog, you're not gonna want to run it any faster than medium.
Okay.
Okay. Now, what we're gonna do now is I wanna make sure this thing is level as far as this way goes. And I can tell you right now it's not. It's low in the front. So I'll measure here, 13 inches. I'll measure here. See what I mean? That's about 5.
Yeah.
So to get that level, I'm gonna pull up on this, watch it, see it come up.
Okay.
See it
And you
coming
did
up?
that with that lever up
With
there?
this lever right here. I'm gonna measure it again. That's about 7 now. And that's about 5.5, so I need to lower it down a little bit again. And again, once I get it where I want it, I'm gonna put that lock lever there where it can't go any lower.
Okay.
So I'm gonna lower it down a little bit. All right, I'll measure again. 6. A little bit more. 5.5. That's where it needs to be. Now come here and I'll show you how to lock this lever. This lever is the one I'm talking about. You see it right there?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna loosen that up and bring it up to here, and then I'm gonna lock it again. That way, when you set it back down, if you pick it up, if I pick it up, like now, I just picked it up. If I set it back down, it can't go but to where it was.
Oh, okay.
It locks it from going any deeper, any further down. So I locked that lever there. So we're pretty much ready to go. Now you can also, with this one right here, this center one right here, you can tilt it up and down like I told you.
With the center one?
This one right here.
Yeah.
So it's fine where it's at because I got it level front and back. And I'm running off that rear wheel. I never want to sit this thing flat on the ground and run it. It just, there's no value to it.
Right.
And it's harder on the machine. And if you see that PTO shaft is a little bit down now, but it's still really in line, so it's not going to hurt it.
Okay.
But what I don't want to get is that PTO shaft in a bind.
Right, yeah.
It's got a universal joint there so it can run, but you really don't want to put that much pressure on the universals. In the beginning, it won't hurt. You can probably get 2,000 hours out of this without, and that'll take you a hell of a long time.
Right, yeah.
This is from time to time, this gearbox right here, this is a check for the level in the gearbox, and you see how they got a white piece of paint on it? That tells them if somebody's checked it. So the next time, if I wanted to check that, I know it's good to go because they've checked it. I would loosen this up and you can look at the the gear weight oil in it.
How often would we need to check the oil in it?
Say he put full 10, 20, 21. I would say annually I would check it once a year.
Okay.
Yeah. And unless you see any leaks, and you'd see it if it was leaking. You'd see it, there'd be oil on this deck or oil underneath or something like that. You'd see it if it started leaking, if the seal started leaking.
Okay.
So we're good to go. So the first thing I'm gonna do is, because I got concrete blocks in here, I'm gonna take this tractor here and put this bucket level on the ground and just walk that fence. And anything I hit, I'll pick up in the bucket and get rid of, because I don't want to go anywhere near it with a bush hog.
Right, yeah. It should just be along this right here.
The other thing you got to worry about is if you ever get on that bush hog on something, you hear it making a racket, just push the clutch in and take the PTO out of gear.
Okay.
Because you know what's out here. There's metal and all kind of shit out here. And you'll run over something. It's designed to be able to handle it.
Okay.
But you don't want to keep running through it.
Right.
So if you ever hear anything under that deck, like making a terrible racket, just push the clutch in, take the PTO out of gear, lift it up, and just drive away from it.
Now, one more time, will you show me where the gear is for the PTO?
The PTO's right here, this yellow knob.
Okay, yeah. And then you pull it down here and it'll be in gear.
I push the clutch.
Yeah.
I get it up to RPM first.
Yes.
I push the clutch, and then when I get this in gear, I ease the clutch out. You don't want to snap it. Just ease it out, and you'll see that thing starting to turn and it pick up speed.
So kind of like when James was teaching me to drive the stick in the Jeep, I do the
just
clutch
ease
like
it
that.
out. Yeah. And then again, I'm gonna run it in low range to begin with, because anytime you get in a tight fit like this where you got fences and other things to worry about, run it at slow speed. You're not gaining anything to run it wide open. Now, as you get experience, you can run it faster. It's like anything else. When you start out, go slow. Don't worry about speed, worry about what you're doing, look around. Your head's gotta be on a swivel looking out the front and looking out the back.
Okay.
I mean, you really gotta pay attention. But go slow at first. Now, if I put you in that field out there to bush hog that, we bush hogged that before. We know there's nothing out there.
Right.
Anywhere where you see it's bush hog, you know it's nothing out there. You can run it in medium, mid-range, and go a little faster, because this bush hog will cut it.
Right.
As long as you're up in this RPM area. All right, let me get in that fence. Where's the entrance to it at?
So
On the
you
other side
gotta
of the
go
barn?
on the other side of the barn.
Okay.
And I just had the kids go. We had some hay over there. They raked it out. It was dirty hay.